So where did you get a helicopter?
Facebook Marketplace.
Right, and have you had it inspected or anything?
What do you work for, the air police or something?
Do you even have a pilot's license?
Maybe I would if I was a square.
Is that one of the blades? What's up, everybody? My name is Scott and you're watching Kentucky Ballistics, and over the years I have shot some really interesting objects, but I think this one may take the cake. Today we have an actual helicopter blade. You may be wondering where I got a helicopter blade, and to that I have to say, mind your own beeswax. This thing is surprisingly heavy and is actually thicker than I thought it would be. Now up here it is quite thin. It is a very thin edge, but towards the top of this, where it attaches to the helicopter, you can see that this is pretty beefy. So today we are going to set up this helicopter blade and we are going to shoot it with multiple calibers and see what it can stop and what it cannot stop. But before we get started with that, I got something else to show you. I also have a literal helicopter. I'm sure by now you know I have written a book. It is called Boom Pow, I'm Braver Now, and it's about being strong and courageous even during hardships and failures in life, and it is inspired by my 50 cal accident. I have been super excited about this book and partnering with Brave Books, but what I've been most excited about is the cause behind it. A portion of every book sold goes to the Parker Project to help families whose children are fighting cancer. And now we have a big goal that I am super excited to try and tackle with you. We have a family and we are trying to raise enough money to pay for their rent for an entire year so they can just focus on their child and their battle. And you can help me hit that goal by picking up a book with the link in the description down below. And if we hit that goal, we are going to destroy my helicopter. So be sure and pick up one of my books. Actually, while you're at it, why don't you pick up two? It's a win-win. You're helping a good cause and you're gonna get to see a helicopter get destroyed. And speaking of destroyed, let's go ahead and get to shooting that blade. So today I've decided to go in reverse order. Instead of starting out with something small, we're gonna go ahead and start out with something quite big. This is a GM6 Lynx 50 BMG bullpup semi-automatic rifle, and I'm gonna be loaded up with 2 rounds of 50 BMG 660 grain full metal jackets. Let's go with the thick end first. Here we go. I think I went through it. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna aim a little more to the left. Let's see if we can get the thicker spot. Here we go. Whoa! Let's go check that out. So we have 2 good hits. One right here, and we clearly made it through, and then this one. Wow, that actually looks pretty cool. If you get real close, that's a pretty cool hole. Oh! We have a fresh spring flower over here. Look at this. That is wild. So there's just layers to this blade, I guess, and it peeled them all out. This one, we just had a little hole for the exit hole, but this one right here, big exit hole. And it kind of smells like old body armor when you shoot an old military plate. Going down the ladder, up next we have the almighty 416 Rigby, aka the 416 Honey Badger, because it don't care. And I'll be loaded up with a 350 grain hot core. All right, here we go. 416 Rigby. Oh. Woo! The round may be slightly smaller than 50 BMG, but it kicks way harder. We have a hit in between our 250 BMG hits, right there. And again, we blew through the helicopter blade. Guess I'm gonna start marking these just so I know which ones are new and which ones are old. Okay. All right, 50 BMG and 416 Rigby will blow through a helicopter blade. Let's keep going. Working our way down the ladder, up next is going to be a SOCOM 16 chambered in 308, and I'll be loaded up with some Hornady 178 grain rounds. All right, here we go. Man, I feel like when I'm hitting it, I'm seeing a flash. I shot right next to the 416 Rigby. We have a good hit. It's actually kind of weird looking. It's not a perfect hole. And then we have another tiny little flower on the back of our helicopter blade. I'm starting to think that helicopter blades aren't very tough. Up next is going to be an AK guy, AK-47. My friend Brandon Herrera actually made this for me, and it is stinking sweet. Suppressed, and we are loaded up with 2 rounds of Full Metal Jackets 7.62 by 39. I'm gonna do 1 round in the thickness and 1 round on the thin side. Here we go. Now 1 on the thin side. So our first round hit right here, and oh, I think we may have our first stoppage. We have a hole right here, very clear hole, yep, and it stopped. It stopped the 7.62 by 39. That is very interesting. But it did not stop it over here. I hit right there, and it very clearly hit the berm. I saw it hit. Yeah, there's a tiny little hole right there. So far, we have learned that a helicopter blade will not stop a 50 BMG or an elephant rifle or anything like that, but it will stop a 7.62 by 39. Up next, we're going to use an AR-15. This is a Q Sugar Weasel, and I'm loaded up with 2 rounds of 5.56 Full Metal Jackets. Again, I'm going to go 1 round in the thickness and 1 round in the thinness. Here we go. There. And 1 over there. Let's check it out. We hit right here with the 5.56. Oh, okay, well the 5.56 made it through, but I think just barely. That's not a very big exit hole. So that is interesting because we stopped the 7.62, but we did not stop the 5.56. I figured if it would have stopped that one, it should have stopped the 5.56 also. And then we have a hit over here, and of course we made it through with the 5.56. Up next, we're going to use some shotguns, and we're going to start out with my favorite flavor of shotgun, 10 gauge. And this is one of my favorite shotguns, an Ithaca 10 gauge semi-automatic with a short barrel, and we have a 10 gauge slug and 10 gauge double-aught buck. All right, here we go. All right, now for the slug. Oh, hopefully I hit it. Here we go. Oh, well, I can see from here, pretty sure we made it through. So, we had a good hit with the buckshot and the slug. Looks like it stopped some of this buckshot. Like that is splattered on there with no hole. Stopped there. I mean, that one made it through. That one almost did not make it through. And then the slug, 100% made it through that helicopter blade. Actually, if you look right here, there is a buckshot round buried in there and just stuck in that blade. Up next is going to be a 12 gauge shotgun. This is a Remington 887, and I'm loaded up with a slug, buckshot, and birdshot. Let's see what happens. Birdshot is up first, and I'm going to go ahead and just pepper the thinnest side because it's pretty obvious that that side is pretty weak. So here we go. Birdshot. That actually looks pretty cool.
You just got jammed.
Buckshot. And now the slug. I think we may have stopped it. Starting down on this end, we hit it with birdshot, and this side is actually really weak, but it stopped the birdshot. Then moving on down, we hit it with the buckshot. It looks like it stopped most of those. So buckshot did not do a very good job. And then I'm pretty sure it stopped the slug also. I hit right next to another hit. I believe that was 223, but slug went in there. And this is the exit hole from the 223 or some other caliber, but there is no exit hole for the buck. I mean slug, there's no exit for the slug. And if you look through this hole, you can clearly see that it did not make it through. Up next is gonna be pistols. And we're gonna start out with 500 Magnum. This is actually Demo Ranch's 500 Magnum that I won from him in an arm wrestling contest. It has a 22-inch barrel, I believe. It's a Magnum Research BFR, and I'll be loaded up with some Underwood ammo, 375 grain XPBs. I find it kind of ironic that I'm shooting a helicopter blade with this because it's very similar to the gun the Joker used to shoot down the Batwing. Okay, here we go. I can't see my front sight. Oh, there it is. I think I hit it. I believe our new hole is about, well, I think it's right here. That's it there. And when I look on this side, this is also where we already have some holes from previous rounds. But if I look through there, I'm not seeing anything. I don't see a hole through it. So it looks like we may have stopped the 500 Magnum. Next, we're gonna blast this thing with a Desert Eagle. This is a Magnum Research Desert Eagle chambered in 50 AE, and I'm loaded up with some 350 grain 50 AE full metal jackets. Starting to have a lot of holes in this thing, so I'm gonna scoot up kind of close just to make sure I know where I'm hitting. So, all right, here we go. I'll tell you what, the Desert Eagle always scares me because it'll flick that brass out straight at you, and I never know if it's the brass or ricochet. Thankfully, every time it's been brass. Wow, okay, stop the Desert Eagle. There's our hole right there, and it did not make it through the other side. 44 Magnum is up next. This is a Taurus Raging Hunter with a custom paint job, and I'm loaded up with one round of 44 mag. These are 245 grain full metal jackets. All right, trying to hit a fresh spot. Here we go. I'm so dumb. I am so used to shooting like Smith & Wessons, I forgot that this goes the other direction. I do want to point out though, that I did not flinch. All right, let's try again. I think we stopped that. So I think we may have found the tough spot on this wing. There's where I hit, and it did not even make it into the wing. Just stopped it. Dead in its tracks. Up next is gonna be 357, and I have a Coonan 357 Magnum, and I'll be loaded up with one round, 125 grain, full metal jacket, 357. Let's see if we can hit it. So it looks like we have a new hit right here, and oh, we did not make it through. We have a nice little bulge right here, but no exit hole. So helicopter blade is 357 Magnum proof. Up next is going to be 10 millimeter, and I have a very interesting 10 millimeter. This is a Keeling Customs Glock 20 10 mil with a 16-inch barrel, and I'm loaded up with 5 rounds of 10 mil 180 grain full metal jackets. All right, here we go. I'm going to just kind of work my way down. That sounds pretty cool when it gets hit. I shot 5 times. Not really sure where I hit over here. This is starting to just kind of be a blur. That might be a new hit. I'm not sure. If it is, that went through. And then that might be a new hit. And if it was, it did not go through. As we make our way down, we have 2 holes here, and both of them did not go through. I cannot see through it. And then that one didn't either. we've got a pretty good bulge on the other side. That's kind of surprising because as this thing gets thinner, it is much weaker, and we've seen that it doesn't stop much, but it stopped 10 mil. Let's move on to another caliber. 45 ACP, the Lord's caliber, is next, and we have a 1911, but not your average 1911. This is a Keeling Customs 1911 with a 16-inch barrel, and I'm loaded up with 5 rounds of 45 ACP full metal jacket. It only takes 1 round of 45 ACP to take one of these down. Just gotta graze it. Here we go. Huh, I think. Yep, that is smoking hot. Oh, that's hot. That is a piece of the bullet that bounced off of that thing. Ah! So I am definitely learning that there is something tough in here because those rounds hit it, smushed, and bounced off. Meanwhile, these 3 shots hit and went clean through this blade. So that is definitely more structurally sound than the rest of the blade, which, I mean, that makes sense. Now we are moving on to the most common pistol caliber in the United States, 9mm. This is a SIG P211 GTO. This thing is slicker than snot. I've got 15 rounds of 9mm full metal jacket. Ooh, let's see what happens. I'm just gonna kind of pepper it all over. Here we go. That is a very smooth, flat shooting pistol. Well, we have quite a few hits. I think that's new, and it went through. I don't know what that's from. I think, no, that's old. These are new. All of those went through. That did not go through. That did not go through. These did. This went through. That went through. That one did not. So again, it's looking like this part of the blade is a lot tougher. Stop those 9mm rounds, but all of this, it's pretty thin, and they blew right through it. Up next, I have a Ruger 5.7, and I'm loaded up with 10 rounds of 5.7 by 28 40 grain rounds. Here we go. Those holes are so small, I'm not really sure if I'm even hitting this thing. Yeah, I'm hitting it. Let's check that out. Yes, all right. So I was hitting it. All these tiny little holes right here went through. But again, we get to this thicker spot, and it stopped those, no problem. Last on the list today is 22 long rifle. This is a Ruger Mark IV suppressed, very cool gun. And I'm loaded up with 10 rounds of 22 long rifle, and these are 40 grain. This should be fun because it's suppressed. Should sound pretty cool. Here we go. Wow, okay. So we even managed to make it through this blade with 22 long rifle, but again, down through here, this is very tough and stopping it, but even 22 will make it through that thin spot. We have quite a few exit holes on this blade. It actually looks really cool, especially when you get down here to the very end. It just looks like a bunch of flowers or something. My question is, with this many holes in this blade, I wonder if it would still function. Anybody that's in the aircraft field, let me know in the comment section down below. So I'm kind of curious, could I take a huge chunk of this wing off? Let's see what we can do with a shotgun. Start out with some slugs.
You just got jammed.
Yeah, I may scoot back just a little bit for this. I'm not gonna jam. That's quite a bit of damage there, but I think it'll really take something to make it through this. But we need to take out this chunk first. Now how about a little bit of 10 gauge? I'm going to take out that last little bit there. I got 1 round left. That's a pretty big hole. I would say that that blade is severely damaged, but I'm wondering if we can actually do some damage right there. Now I have my handy dandy 416 Honey Badger, but take into consideration these are lead rounds made for expansion. So if we don't make it through, it's because they're lead. Oh. I got one more round in my pocket. Give me one moment. There we go. Let's check that out. So even with the lead 416 Rigby rounds, we are blowing through the thickest part of this helicopter blade. We only lack a little bit. So we don't lack much from this blade just breaking. So I flipped it over and I got some cinder blocks on that end. Let's see what happens when I flex it. Well, it's still got a lot of strength. Dude, that is wild. We have blown through all of this. And here, there's not a whole lot of material left, but that blade is still hanging on. May not be a good idea. I don't know. Okay, yeah, that's pretty tough. That is very springy. Maybe I'll use this side. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. All right, I got through there. All right, this whole spot is gone. All that's left is that. I don't really expect to make it through this with this axe, but I am just wanting to get a better look at what's in there. So, let it rip, I guess. That. Hey. You're embarrassing me on camera. Do your job. And then I'm gonna quit. What is this thing made out of? Some sort of alien material? There's so much pressure on this blade right now, and it's still not breaking. All right, we managed to finally break the helicopter blade. Let's see what's inside this thing. It's hollow. Look, it's hollow. That is wild. So, whatever material this is made out of, actually there's a little bit of a bar or something right there, but that's not much. It's mostly hollow. I was not expecting that because this section right here is very tough. And yeah, that's hollow. Huh. I really thought there would have been something in there. Now you know. So when it comes to a helicopter blade, turns out they're fairly tough in certain sections. And if you want to break through one, you're going to need a 50 BMG or a 416 Rigby and a limo. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure and give it a like and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. Also, if you want to pick up a nifty Kentucky Ballistics t-shirt, there's a link in the description down below. And as always, my name is Scott. Thank you so much for watching Kentucky Ballistics. I'll see you next time.